This is a weather alert from the KELOLAND Live Doppler HD Storm Center.
Hello from the Storm Center at KELOLAND TV. We now have an extension of tornado warnings. These big storms would have already produced some damage from hail. We've had reports of from very strong winds. We've had reports of very heavy rainfall. These storms are big and strong, not your typical springtime type storm. They are producing damage and they're heading the general direction of Sioux Falls. The latest warning you see there in red. Now it does include Turkey Ridge, Springview, Midway areas headed up toward Hurley. That area in red is under a tornado warning until 4:15 Central Time. At the current speed and direction of these storms, they're now lifting to the east-northeast and headed in the general direction of Sioux Falls. We would expect them in the Sioux Falls area in the 5 to 6 o'clock time period there. But have a look at this radar imagery. We have very heavy rainfall right here in that area in black. Very heavy rain, if not hail itself in those areas. But also there's a lot of spin. Every time you see those little spins, that's what we talk about radar indicated. That's where we have the changing direction of the winds, and we've already seen wind damage out of these. Many reports, winds in excess of 60 and even over 70 miles per hour. So you still have a little time to make preparations in these areas east of the main cluster of storms to put your car in the garage, maybe get some things that are laying down in the backyard, put them inside to get them out of this wind, because at a minimum we have wind, but in addition, pretty much all forms of severe weather are going on right now, and we've had reports of those in the past few minutes. Again, this is the latest extension of the tornado warning. Let's go to a different product and see what's going on here. This is our rotation detector, and this is where the radar is telling us that we're seeing that twisting of the winds consistent with tornado production. Right now we have strong winds kind of east of the Scotland area headed toward Minnow, and it is because of this southern part of that cluster of storms that we do have the tornado warning that has been extended to the east. Right now, we're not getting reports of tornadoes, but that could, as much as anything, have to do with the fact that these things are in the middle of very strong, very heavy rainfall. Hard to see them. Here's the latest storm track from meteorologist Jalen Borson. Jamesville, Freeman, Mayfield, Spring Valley, 345, Parker. If it continues to hold together, headed toward Parker around 345. So you see all of these cities, we're giving you advance notice of what's coming up as the storms move in an east-northeasterly direction, especially affecting areas, Sioux Falls and the southern half of Sioux Falls. All day long, the forecast models have been kind of pointing at Lincoln County. So that's one thing we're going to be concerned with here in the next several minutes as those storms move to the east. Areas in red, you're under the tornado warning. Areas in yellow, that's where we have severe thunderstorm warnings. But all of those areas, we could have very strong winds, damaging winds. This is Sioux Falls looking to the southwest. Doesn't look like much right now. That will change within the hour as those storms approach us. And they're all moving in a northeasterly direction right now. We do have some rain. It's mainly light rain north of I-90 right now. This is where we have the tornadic part of the storm. The rains, the hail, the very heavy rain, I should add to that, and potentially tornadoes as well. We know we're getting wind gusts over 70 miles an hour out of those cells. And here's a look at where the tornado watch is. You see that they're in yellow. Hail to 3 inches or more, gusts to 85 miles an hour possible. This is not just your low-end event. This is a high-end type of severe weather event that Tornado Watch posted for southeastern KELOLAND until 10 o'clock Central Time tonight. Meteorologist Adam Rutt has been looking at some of the damage reports coming in. And Adam, what do you have for some of the stuff that's been coming in the last few minutes of reports of damage?
Well, we've got two things that we've got coming up. First off, we'll get your wind gust report there near Avon. About 3 miles east, a recent gust of 74 miles per hour, just moving through that part of Bonham County. Also worth noting, new severe thunderstorm warning just came in. This is for portions of Bonham, Clay, Hutchinson, Turner, and Yankton counties for the potential of upward of ping pong ball sized hail, about 1.5 inches in diameter, and they are putting out their 80-mile-per-hour winds. Yeah,
thunderstorm warning.
So they're up in the ante with their verbiage on the new warning that just got put up. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to commandeer Links 1 for a quick second and bring up where we are seeing that new warning. So you see that peach-colored box that's out there on the screen that we have there in place. The peach-colored screen that goes all the way up through Parker, Hurley, Highway 18 over toward Menno, Freeman, Mayfield, Wakanda, Viborg, Spring Valley. That whole polygon is what is called a destructive severe thunderstorm warning. And they'll typically put those out there when they start to see the potential for upward of 80-mile-per-hour gusts or 2 to 2.5 inch diameter hails. So we're talking about a hen egg and tennis ball when we get to that. But this warning is for ping pong ball sized hail. But the big reason why they have that is the 80-mile-per-hour gust potential. That's why they have put the key destructive descriptor along with that particular warning. And you notice it completely surrounds the tornado warning that is also in place. That includes that portion of Highway 18 headed over toward Viborg, Hurley, and Mayfield, eventually into southern portions of Turner County. We'll be keeping an eye on our Parker camera, have that view to the southwest, and we can see how that is particularly evolving. The area that they're kind of looking at, you notice this little notch right here along this area of thunderstorm activity. That's roughly where they found that little area of rotation. That's where they're kind of keying in on. That's right around the center of that polygon for the tornado warning, moving to the northeast at around 50 miles per hour. That's the other thing that we're watching. And you notice what's not too far away from the tornado warning and that destructive severe thunderstorm warning, Interstate 29. So we're going to be keeping a very, very close eye on the I-29 corridor, especially from Beersford up to Harrisburg, Southside Sioux Falls, as well as this just continues to evolve and go into a very rich environment, for lack of better terms. The atmosphere earlier this morning was able to get in on a clearer sky. I talked about it this morning on KELOLAND this morning. We had the potential to get that cloud cover to dissipate, and lo and behold, we were able to get that. So now, for lack of better terms, the atmosphere is juiced. It is ready to go, as this is basically the only player in town. This cluster of thunderstorms continue to move on over to the east by northeast, and you can still see that little hook, that little appendage southeast of Menno by a couple of miles. Also around the Menno area, new little area of low-level rotation being picked up on a shear marker. And also, Jay, I'm not sure if you can see this as well, right next to that rotation detector, there is a TDS marker that's coming up, that little gray circle that you can see there on the screen. Yeah,
what that's doing is telling us we have probably some debris in that area. We've been getting lots of photos into us here at the Storm Center. Thank you very much for that. The wind out of this thing is pretty strong. And actually, meteorologist Jalen Borison, she's been handling our social media this afternoon. And one thing that you pointed out was the heightened sense now it could have damaging winds.
Yeah, the Storm Prediction Center just a little bit ago reissued their outlook for today and included in that a 45% risk for wind here. And that means basically if you put a circle around your house within 25 miles, there's a 45% risk that you could see some wind damage. And we've already had a lot of reports coming in of wind damage, and it's not going to get much better, unfortunately, as we go into the next few hours, just because of how prime the environment is. And yeah, we're only just beginning going into tonight. So that includes southern Minnesota, portions of southeastern South Dakota, and down into northwest Iowa as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And these winds, I mean, we've been seeing lots of reports already in of damaging winds out of this.
Yeah, and now with that new severe thunderstorm warning, wind gusts up to 80 miles per hour possible. Definitely, I don't doubt it at all, because we've already seen wind gusts over 75 miles per hour in some parts of KELOLAND. So yeah, a long evening is ahead for many of us, but definitely going to want to stay prepared, that's for sure.
Yep, and have a look at KELOLAND Live Doppler. The Menno area that Adam was just highlighting there, that's a shear marker there. That's telling us that we have very strong winds in that area, and everything's moving in a northeasterly direction. So we have tornado warning here. We have destructive severe thunderstorm warning in this area. So this isn't your typical 58-mile-an-hour quarter-size hail type storm. These are damaging, destructive winds, and you can see kind of head in the general direction of Lenox, then Harrisburg, Larchwood, I should say, and the Sioux Falls area, especially the southern half of the Sioux Falls area. Lincoln County, the forecast models have been pointing at that all day long. And that's kind of the area where that's headed toward, right on into the Lincoln County area. And the potential there also, we've not seen big tornadoes yet, but we certainly have that potential as a result of what is going on. Out toward the Parker area, we're seeing the storms that are kind of approaching that area right now. And let's just take a look at the live cam in Parker, and you can kind of see that right now, which is where we have those, oh, Adam's just punching it up there for me. There we go. That's the dark area you see right there. That is where we do have the our live cam pointed to the southwest, looking at the incoming storms, because Parker is under that severe thunderstorm warning for potentially destructive weather. Jalen, you have something new?
Yes. So just coming in from the National Weather Service, that new tornado warning we have is issued. And in Scotland, just south of there was a tornado that was reported. A brief touchdown is what it sounds like.
Okay, let me zoom in on this a little bit so you can see exactly the area we're looking at. This is the area which has been it looks like they have extended the tornado warning a bit as well. I'm going to show you this right here. They extended the tornado warning box now to include the Marion area up toward Parker. You're now under a tornado warning. Here's Scotland right here. There was a confirmed tornado now, reported seen tornado moving in a northeasterly direction. This is where radar is telling us the center of rotation is right now, right around Menno. So if there was a tornado in Scotland, there is probably a tornado in that area right around Menno right now. The darker colors you see here, the purples, the blacks, that is probably heavy rainfall. In addition, there could be some hail. Now, we haven't had reports of excessively large hail in the past several minutes. Quarter-size hail is what we've been getting, but anything could be blown around by very strong winds and quickly become destructive. So we have this area in red now, which is a tornado-warned area. Marion and Parker, you are included in it as a result of this confirmed tornado. It's near Scotland here. Now that's where our Viper processor is telling us if there's a tornado, that's where it's going to be. This whole thing moving in a northeasterly direction, heading into the Sioux Falls, to the greater Sioux Falls area, I'll call it, kind of the south side of the city, especially the Lincoln County side of the metro area. Something new coming in there, Adam?
Yeah, it looks like they're speeding up the acceleration of the line that's been pushing through. So they've got the perspective of this this line of thunderstorms getting to the I-29 corridor. They basically put out a new discussion that talks about the potential for impacts along I-29, basically from the Sioux Falls area through Lincoln County, Harrisburg, Worthing, Beersford as well. Basically talking about the 80-mile-per-hour potential, not to mention the ongoing potential to see some tornadic activity come up along this. So it's still looking over the next about 1 to 2 hours as this moves to the east by northeast, anywhere from 40 to 50 miles per hour.
All right, so moving fast, and they're big and strong. I'm going to just back out here a little bit on KELOLAND Live Doppler and give you a better indication of what we're looking at. The Sioux Falls area, of course, just to the north. Here is Sioux Falls itself. Here is the Lincoln County, Minnehaha County line. Lincoln County has been under the gun all day long. That's the area we've been kind of watching as these storms moving in an easterly direction, and they are quite strong. Lots of reports of wind damage in those areas. This is your chance. If you got a car, you can put it in the garage. You may be happy you did, because we have the potential for very large hail in addition to tornadoes. And of course, now we're getting enhanced indications of that storm around Menno. Do you have something new on that, Adam or Jalen?
Just a couple continuations on the destructive severe thunderstorm warning, and then on the tornado warning for Hutchinson, Turner, and Yankton counties,
okay.
The southern flank.
All right, I'm just asking about that because I see in our Menno area now we're getting some
upper and lower.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of rotation being caught in that system.
Rotation detector over here basically winds aloft turning with direction and also speed, but some good rotation just within this whole cluster of storms. And within that destructive severe thunderstorm warning, there is a tornado possible tag now on that destructive severe thunderstorm warning too. But even along with that, that tornado warning for Hutchinson, Turner, and Yankton counties has been upgraded to golf ball size hail with it. So something to keep in mind, because the hail was not that big just a little bit ago, but
So
we're seeing indication that it's definitely becoming more of a threat.
Yes.
Yeah, as we've been watching this thing develop during the day today, one thing that we were watching is the environment, especially as these things move to the east, was looking more favorable for very strong thunderstorms.
Yeah, large hail as well, damaging winds, tornadoes, all a factor for this evening.
And Adam just popped up the rotation detector there, what we call it. It's our Viper processor just trying to map out where the strongest change in direction speeds of the winds is right now. And that area circled right now, that's where radar is telling us we either have a tornado or very strong winds. And what he circled right there is the area we're going to be watching here.
Yeah, that is exactly it. Just like Jalen had mentioned, it's a kind of that area just along and barely north of U.S. Highway 18 in the Meadow area. Also, I just want to zoom in just so we can get a couple of these roads. So U.S. Highway 81, right around there. Highway 81, Highway 18, east of Meadow, south of Freeman. You guys along either of those two highways are really starting to really see the worst of this as that 81 corridor. You can kind of draw that down. I'll zoom out a little bit so you can actually kind of see exactly where. So roughly here is Highway 81, just getting to the front of that.
And can you go north there a little bit? I wanted to mention that we just had a report of a 59-mile-an-hour gust in Mitchell as well, further to the north.
Yep. So there's Mitchell.
Yep, and out of that particular part of the storm, now we're starting to get some strong winds out of that as well. So it's possible we may see some severe thunderstorm warnings just on the north side of I-90 as well, out of that part of this cluster of storms as it moves in a northeasterly direction. So another thing we're going to have to be watching here, this whole thing, very strong storms in a very rich environment. All day long, we've been talking about some of our forecast models are saying not only tornado potential, but large tornado potential is what we have right now. And as you can see, we do have a lot of red there. Can we pop up, go back to there? Yeah, number one there. That's a live look at Parker. And that is a storm that is headed toward the Parker area right now. Looks like we have some wind in that and some gusts.